This is by far the longest that I've gone without uploading a single YouTube video. But I'm officially back to uploading weekly, if not multiple times a week, and I've got a lot to update you guys on. Now, the biggest update that I have for you guys is I should have completed my cabin at the beginning of May, and this upcoming weekend is Memorial Weekend, and it is still not available for rent. But I can tell you the good news there is as of next week, we're getting Wi-Fi, finishing up some last-minute furnishing items, cleaning up. I'm actually going to stay in the cabin for one day this weekend and then have it cleaned and officially ready to go next week. Now, some other good but slightly bad news about my cabin is I actually went with two different lenders. I got two different appraisals. Those two appraisals came back at about $600,000 in difference between the two, which that meant one lender I'm definitely not going to do a cash out refinance with because they valued my cabin far too low. And the other person I'm actually going to be able to cash out refinance far more than I had ever anticipated on doing so. However, there is a big catch here on that large appraisal. I'm actually going to have to get a second appraisal, or really an appraisal review from a second appraiser, meaning technically that high appraisal could mean absolutely nothing if the second appraiser comes out and deems that the first appraiser didn't know what he was doing. So stay tuned for that. I should have an update on that probably next week. And honestly, that is the last domino effect that will give me true numbers to my cabin, meaning how much I put down, what my initial purchase price was, how much I've put in since then, including furnishings, what I'm going to be able to refinance to, hopefully cash out refi and take all of my money back that I put into it. But all of that is to come next week. Now, you may be sick and tired of me updating you on my cabin, but I can tell you it's the largest investment by far, and especially over the last 45 days, furnishing essentially a 6-bedroom, 6-bath cabin. Needless to say, it is not cheap. So I'll be happy when that finally gets to renting out next week. And also stay tuned beyond next week so I can inform you on just how well it's renting and what the cash flow looks like long term. Now, one thing that you may be curious about is, Casey, why haven't you uploaded on your YouTube channel for close to a month? You've been able to travel across the world, be able to create consistent content for about 2.5 years on this YouTube channel, and I've honestly, I think only gone 1 week without uploading a single YouTube video, and now I've gone close to a month. Well, folks, the easiest explanation there is my videographer quit. Now, I've said it in other videos, and I will once again say it here, guys. Owning a business is not always fun and games, and I can tell you, having done so for the last 5 or 6 years, one of the biggest frustrations is hiring and really finding the perfect fit for your business, whether or not it's your business manager, whether or not it's your transaction coordinator. Honestly, I've been blessed with the best transaction coordinator since the end of 2018. She's by far the longest tenured employee, and technically she's 1099, so not even really an employee, but everyone else throughout my business has kind of come and gone. Now, one of the most frustrating parts about hiring, and I guess firing individuals from your own company, is they have as equal say as you do as the employer. If they feel like there's a better opportunity, or they don't feel necessarily like it's a good fit, they are free and welcome to walk really at any time. Me, myself, as a realtor, as an individual that does this for a living, and this is the way that I pay my bills, I can't just wake up one day and decide that, you know what, I'm just going to quit my business and not do it anymore. Now, obviously, if I was not doing well and not producing any income, then I may need to find another job to pay the bills. But oftentimes when it comes to employees, they're always looking for the next best thing. If they can find the next best thing, that means leaving you kind of out to dry. Now, I won't go into too much detail about this employee. He only lasted a couple months, but let's just say it wasn't necessarily the best fit. And as far as the videographer, that's someone that's going to be following me around my entire life, getting to know me quite personally, staying with me when it comes to traveling to other states, potentially even other countries. So it's someone that I need to feel comfortable with, but also someone that I see long-term with my business and not just kind of a temporary, short-term fix. And just to tie up the situation about my videographer leaving, I'm also going to just throw in a tidbit here for you guys. If you've watched my most recent update video, I have quite, a life transforming situation happening in my personal life. That is finalizing hopefully in the next week or two after I unfortunately had to cut her a check for $50,000. Now, the perk of that is I didn't have to cut her half of my assets, and $50,000 is substantially less than half of my assets. But needless to say, I've had a $50,000 lesson learned. But enough about that. Let's jump into the great things outside of my cabin finishing up that has happened really over the last month. And the first and foremost is actually closing on Friday. I had a client that I was referred to from another state relocating to the Dallas area last summer. It was my largest real estate transaction, helping that buyer out who bought about 1.65 million. Now, if you live in Texas or you're familiar with the home prices in Texas, that's substantially higher than the average home price, especially here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm roughly around the 425, maybe 450 range. So that blew past really any other transaction I've ever done. I actually had a month last July where I closed 3 homes that were over $1 million, including this client's as well. But about 45 days ago, they reached out to me saying, hey, we've got a job opportunity in Houston, and we're going to be selling with having owned a home for less than a year. Now, if you guys watch my channel, you've watched the real estate market, you know the peak of the market was the summer of 2022. That's exactly when they purchased. They've also put more money into the house since purchasing it, living in it the last 9 months and kind of making it their own. They've actually spent $50,000 or $60,000 on top of what they already probably paid a premium amount for last summer. So to be honest with you, going into this, I was a little bit worried. I was getting my highest listing by far. They've put money into it. They also need to pay commissions because, as you're aware, sellers pay both the buyer and seller's commission, I guess traditionally here in Texas. And on top of that, they wanted to recoup their money that they invested as well, and maybe even try to make some money. So when I was talking numbers with them, there really wasn't a ton of comps that suggested that they could get all of their money back, plus the commission, plus the initial purchase price that they purchased really at the peak of last summer. So our intention here was to kind of list at a high price, hoping that someone would come in, love it, because at this price point in Texas, it's really not about comps. It's not really about appraisal values. It's really, at the end of the day, hey, does this home fit my family's needs? And if it does, I'm going to probably pay cash or pay a majority of it cash and really not worry about the actual value at the end of the day. So about 3 weeks ago, I got to list my highest priced listing ever. Now, yes, I helped them about 9 months ago purchase this home, but I've really not had a listing over $1 million. The only transactions that I've had over $1 million are buyers. So this by far is the highest listing at $1.85 million. Now, when it came to listing it, we actually got a lot of activity out the gate. Again, small buyer market because you don't have a lot of people purchasing almost $2 million homes in North Texas. But on top of that, you really don't have a lot of $2 million homes in North Texas as well. So when one hits the market that is as turnkey and updated as my clients, you're likely going to get some interested parties. Well, lo and behold, I had a same-day appointment the very day I had it listed for about 7 p.m. They were done by 8. He let me know he was going to be submitting an offer, and by 10 p.m. the very same day we had it listed, I got an above asking cash offer. Fast forward 24 hours, I let any and all of the other agents know who scheduled showings, about 7 or 8 other agents, that, hey, we're going to be moving forward with this offer. It's honestly too good of an offer to pass up because one of the biggest issues and concerns just from me being a professional real estate agent was, hey, if someone's going to finance this and maybe put a small amount down, there's no way that this is going to appraise for 1.85 when you bought it for about 1.6 just 9 months ago. Again, they haven't put $250,000 into this property, but they wanted to get back the money that they did put in plus the commissions, which is about 6% of the sales price. So fast forward those 24 hours, we went ahead and moved forward with a cash offer at $1.875 million, got past negotiations, and were set to close on the biggest transaction of my real estate career just in 3 days. Now, one of the biggest things that I value on my channel is transparency. To give you guys a little backstory here, I was raised by a father that did not give me any salary transparency. Now, he was a workaholic, worked all the time when he was home, and he really worked all the time, overtime, as well as in other states and countries to try to afford his 4 kids, really the childhood dream, I guess you could say, and I have no complaints whatsoever. But the downside of that is I really didn't understand potential income and really what options there were out there to, potentially start your own business, build an empire, buy rental properties, all these things that I'm going to be able to teach my kids. I love my dad, but it was stuff that I wasn't necessarily taught growing up. Now, with that being said, the only real reason that I understood what my dad made was when I was 19, I joined the Marine Corps and he actually co-signed on a car note for me. None of the other kids, or I guess my brothers and sisters, knew what my dad made. He would never tell you what he made, and he certainly didn't tell me, but I was fortunate enough to see it when we were scrolling past the documents when I was purchasing the car. Now, I could easily make a ton of YouTube videos without ever telling you guys numbers, but I've learned my lesson as a kid, not understanding really what money was and the opportunity that money can bring you, as well as the opportunity to earn income and more money as an adult as well. So I'll tell you and be fully transparent, the closing that I'm having on Friday with the largest listing and really transaction I've ever done in real estate in my first 6 years is paying me equivalent to my prior teaching and coaching jobs' annual salary. Now, I said I value transparency. So what exactly is that? My annual teacher and coaching salary back in 2017 was $52,000 with a master's degree, which honestly wasn't that bad starting out my career. Closing on this real estate transaction on Friday is going to give me a commission check of $56,000. Now, this is not suggesting that you go out, get your real estate license, and you close a $1.9 million home and make enough in one closing to really not have to work the rest of the year. I can tell you this is 6 years of working my butt off, accumulating as many relationships across the country with clients, as well as agents, that has gotten me to that check that I'm going to be depositing on Friday. So as you guys can see, there has been a lot that has happened really over the last month. I'm excited to see what happens with my cabin moving forward. It's going to be nice not having to just continue to pay interest and earn no income from it. And with my new videographer, we're going to be creating more content for you guys, going to be traveling in and out of state to some new real estate conferences. And I would say moving forward into July and August timeframe, I'm going to be in a position to financially be ready to invest in another property. So stay tuned for that. If you guys do have any kind of content that you would like to see, make sure to leave a comment in the comment section below. I honestly listen, read, and reply to just about every single comment. And if I don't reply to it, I've definitely seen it myself. So please let me know what you guys would like to see if you've watched this entire video. And on top of that, I've been uploading videos for about 2.5 years, so it starts to get a little bit difficult to create consistent new content for you guys. So really anything that you guys want to hear, I am all for it. Thanks again for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. It really does help. And stay tuned for the next video.